everyone. If you've been to any of the NTCA workshops, you know this is one of the things that we do while we're there. We show liquid membranes a lot of times, and we'll show to make sure we get the right amount down. A lot of times we need to use a notch trowel, something like this, and come back and run the notches down, smooth them out. But we want to go through and we check it. Once we're done, we come back with a film gauge, a wet film gauge. We check it, and we need between 25 and 30. I'm just a touch bit short, so a little short on that. So we make sure we get enough material down. This material calls for 25 to 30 mils, and so that's the only way we know is by using a film gauge coming back. What happens though when you get to the job and the inspector throws you a curveball? Hang on, all changes of plane need to use reinforcing fabric. Well, how do we actually incorporate the use of reinforcing fabric with our membranes? Let's talk about that today. So we have our membrane here. We've got our membrane. I've already pre-cut the fabric for this, and that's what they recommend you do. So a lot of times you want to pre-cut it and pre-fold it. That's also important to do. So for this inside corner, they want 4 inches up the wall, 2 inches on the floor. So I've already pre-folded it both directions, and I put a slit so that I can fold this into a 90-degree angle and tuck it into that corner. So let's start with that. Now we're going to put our coat on. We're going to make sure we get enough on there for our 30 mils. We can go back and check it, but I know after just testing that piece, I've got the right amount there. So we take that fabric and we tuck it all the way in the corner. Now before we started this, I came in here and I actually pre-treated all these joints because these had bigger than a 32nd of an inch gap. If it's bigger than a 32nd of an inch gap between our wall board and our floor, it tells us to fill that gap with an appropriate filler material. I used a urethane sealant. So I filled that. So where this flap comes over and laps down, we need to put another little bit of fabric or a membrane in that area, because otherwise you're just dry fabric on top of dry fabric. Gloves are a must. So sometimes you have a little wrinkle like that, so sometimes you can grab your fabric and try and give it a little tug to loosen that, try and pull some of that wrinkle out. Sometimes the only way to get the wrinkle completely out is to put a slice in it to relieve that tension that's in there and pull that out. It looks like I got most of that out. There we go. So that's our first piece in the corner. Now we're going to overlay that, and we're going to put our next piece on the adjoining floor here. Should be this piece right here. So 2 inches on the floor below and 4 inches up the wall. So make sure we get that embedded nicely. Pre-fold your fabric ahead of time. It'll just work so much easier for you. So there we have that. Go back and we put another layer on top of this. So make sure that once we get our fabric completely embedded, make sure we're nice and tight on the inside corners. Once we're all nice and tight on the inside corners, make sure we add another layer to the top. So, and get the right film thickness. So we need to make sure we have enough material there.